Yo, what is up guys? It's Pedro here, and in today's video I'll be talking about a bunch of different Washington Commanders trade news that came out today, including that a lot of teams are interested in Montez Sweat and Chase Young. The Commanders might be willing to trade them, and also surprisingly low trade value for Chase Young that is being reported. If you guys are new, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button and that notification bell as well. Help out a fellow Commander fan. It really helps out a ton. All right, so a lot of different trade rumors that came out today. Let's talk about it. So Josina Anderson, who's been reporting some Commanders things recently, has some things to say. Ben Stanek did as well. Jeremy Fowler in the last week. So a lot of different sources, not just one. She said today, it is my understanding that there are several identifiable teams that have both interested in trading for either Chase Young or Montez Sweat and are willing to offer either a long-term deal ahead of free agency. John Keim on his podcast talked about there are teams interested earlier in the offseason as well, but the Commanders just didn't really want to trade him. So I don't know. From what the value that Sam Fortier reported today that Chase Young would get, I'll talk about that in a second. I would not trade Chase Young at all. Chase Young has been a stud for the Commanders, but let's read a couple more things. This is from Ben Stanek. Commanders haven't talked about a new contract with either of their star DNs, Montez Sweat or Chase Young. Both players are free agents, and he said the Commanders have reportedly made trade calls to NFL teams about trading both pass rushers. And this is what Sam Fortier said in his article. One senior NFC personnel executive who spoke on the condition of anonymity to evaluate another team said the markets for Young and Sweat will be depressed because both are on expiring deals and are unlikely candidates for trade and signs. He was especially skeptical a team would commit to Young now because of his inconsistency and injury history. He said Washington would probably receive offers of a 4th or 5th round pick, a third at absolute best. That to me, if that is the trade value for Chase Young, then there is absolutely zero reason to trade him. Chase Young is having a great season for the Washington Commanders, and it's been the first half of the season. If he continues what he's on pace for, I don't know the exact math, but he's on pace for like 13, 14 sacks. You never trade a young, super talented guy that gets you double-digit sacks for anything less than a first-round pick. Like, if he has that type of year, and let's say we franchise tag him or whatever, and he ends up the year with like 13 sacks, top 5 in pressures, which he is right now, and continues to look good, the trade value for him is not going to be a 5th, a 4th, a 3rd, a 2nd. I think it would probably be a 1st plus if he can, because again, he had one good season and it was really one good half of football. It was the second half of the 2020 season. The first half of the 2021 season was bad, and he hasn't really played ever since. So this is his first, if he plays the whole year, really his full healthy year. And he even started off the year, injured. So it just does not make sense, man. It does not make sense at all to trade him for a 5th round pick when if he leaves this year, he's going to get paid and you can get a comp pick for him that is going to be a 3rd round pick because Montez Sweat, if he leaves as well, same thing. And then also, you could franchise tag him. You franchise tag him, he's under team control for another year. And if he puts together another really good year at the trade deadline next year, you can trade him for even more because it's another good year. So there's literally zero reason for the Commanders to trade Chase Young. And also, if you consider that Ron Rivera and company want to win now, why would they trade Chase Young? If Ron Rivera trades Chase Young for a 5th round pick, I really don't know what I'll do, man. I mean, he's already made so many bad decisions. If he does that, I mean, that's I don't know. I mean, it's already been the last straw like 2 years ago or a year ago, but it is what it is. And then I think someone said in the article, Sam Fortier said that he thinks Sweat would be around a 2nd, which I still probably wouldn't do that because, again, he's a young, really talented pass rusher, and you don't find those guys in the 2nd round. But also at the same time, I understand people who in the comments are going to be like, okay, well, we haven't won with those guys. That is fair. But I think you can get more for those guys if they continue to ball out. I mean, Montez Sweat has like 6 sacks, 5.5, 6 sacks. So he's on pace again for like 13, 14 plus sacks, like 14, 15 sacks. If he has a season like that, if he continues to do that, the value is going to be much higher for him. And again, he's had this is his 5th like good year for Montez Sweat. Like, he's never been elite, but he's always been really solid. So a 2nd-round pick for an edge rusher, I think you can get a little bit more. But if they ended up getting a 1st-round pick for him, I would do that, honestly. And then just focus on keeping Chase Young. I think you need to keep one of these guys long-term. But if you can get a 1st for Montez Sweat, which would be tough, then you can consider to do that. Let's keep on going here. This is what Ben Standig says. One front office executive from another team said following Sunday's game that he believes Washington will sell at the deadline. So, I mean, I understand that, and they can sell some players like, Curtis Samuel. I love Curtis Samuel, but he's on an expiring deal. You maybe want to see what De'Ami Brown has in place. If you can get something for Curtis Samuel, like, go ahead and do it. Again, I love Curtis Samuel. He's a really solid player, but we're not really going anywhere this year. So if you can get a 4th-round pick for him or something like that, a 4th-round pick, you can do a little bit with that next year. Maybe use that to trade up for a quarterback. I mean, obviously you need more than a 4th-round pick, but it's something for a guy that is probably not going to be here next year, especially with Rivera gone. Kendall Fuller, I like him, but maybe they can find something for him. There's other guys as well. I don't think they would get a lot, but maybe Casey Toohill you can get. Like, he's a free agent. Maybe you can get a 7th-round pick from him. Like, again, a lot of these guys you're not going to get a lot from, and the guys you will get a lot from are guys like Terry. You don't want to trade Terry. You don't want to trade Deron Payne, Jonathan Allen. Those guys you're going to get a ton from. But some of these other guys that are free agents, maybe you can get a 6th, 7th-round pick for them. Maybe Curtis Samuel, you can get a 4th, 5th-round pick, something like that. Real quick, a word from today's sponsor. And a huge shout out to Sleeper for sponsoring today's video. They have a bunch of different things you can do on there. You can play fantasy football, fantasy basketball. They have, very innovating ways of doing it, which is really cool. You can also bet on there as well. Use my code Pedro for a first-time deposit match. Again, huge shout out to Sleeper. Go ahead, check them out. Okay, I'm back to Chase Young. I know I was a little hard on him early on in the season. I was just frustrated like week 1 and like the end of, training camp. I was a little frustrated with the injury. I thought he was kind of holding out himself. It was more the team's fault for the way they kind of described it. Instead of saying it was going to be a longer thing, they kind of made it seem like, he's going to be out for a week or so. It ended up being like 6 weeks or whatever. But Chase Young's been a beast this year. He has. In 6 games, he has 5 sacks, 11 total tackles. He has, pass break, or like he batted down a pass. He's had some tackle for losses. Sorry about that. He's had a really solid season. He's getting pressure. Like, even when he's not getting sacks, he's, affecting the play. He's getting double teamed. Like, he's doing things that you were expecting him to do in 2021. Would you still expect, I still would want a tiny bit more because he's not at the point where, we drafted him at the number 2 overall pick, but it's trending in the right direction. He just had 2 sacks against the Giants. Could have been 3 if Jamin Davis didn't have a penalty. So he has been balling out. I think he will continue to ball out. And if he continues to get better, he could actually live up to where we drafted him in the 2nd round. Again, like I said, 2021 to 2022, he played in 12 games. Can't really, we just really didn't get to see Chase Young much. And obviously the 2021 season was disappointing. But who knows what he would have done in the second half and then if he was healthy in 2022. So I'm excited for the rest of this year. I do not think we should trade Chase Young. Chase Young, if he goes to another team, will definitely dominate. I really strongly believe that. I think Montez Sweat, if he leaves, I think it'll be a Preston Smith, a really solid player outside of us. But I mean, he definitely has star potential. But yeah, it would be good to bring both of them back. But I think bringing one of them back at least is something they should do. Bring back Chase Young. Maybe you can trade Montez Sweat if you want. But at the minimum, bring back Chase Young, DMV guy. And I think give him a fresh start without Rivera. I don't think they really mess with each other that much. So Chase Young with a new regime, I think will be a really good spot and will be refreshing for him. And they can franchise tag him so that he gets a year where he gets to, see what the coaching staff and front office is about, and see if he wants to stay with the team. And that's kind of it for today's video. We'll be making maybe some more trade rumor videos this week, and then also talk about Eric Bieniemy and why things need to get a little bit better with him. So thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe if you guys are new, and check out Sleeper, link in the description. Peace, guys.